Welcome to the Tech Mobility Podcast, brought to you by Playbook Investors Network, your strategic partner for unstoppable growth. Visit pincommunity.org to get started.
I'm Ken Chester.
It's time for the Tech Mobility Show with Ken Chester, your trusted source for news, insights, and perspective at the fast-moving intersection of mobility and technology. Brought to you by Playbook Investors Network, your strategic partner for business growth. Visit pincommunity.org to get started. And now, direct from the historic AON studios, here's your host, Ken Chester.
Real facts, real opinions, real talk. Welcome to the Tech Mobility Show with me, Ken Chester, your front row seat to the stories and trends driving mobility and technology. We got a lot ahead, so let's get started. On the docket, my review and impressions of the 2026 Kia K4 hatchback, the dead internet theory, and why California is done with drive-thrus. To join the conversation, be it to ask a question, share an opinion, or even suggest a topic for future discussion, call or text the Tech Mobility Hotline. That number, 872-222-9793, or you can email the show directly, talk@techmobility.show. Be sure to subscribe, like, and follow us on social media, our YouTube channel, or our two podcasts, the Tech Mobility Podcast and Tech Mobility Topics. For those of you who enjoy Substack, you can find me there too at Ken, the letter C, I-O-W-A. That is Ken C. Iowa. I am a proud member of the Iowa Writers Collaborative. From the Tech Mobility News Desk. Filed this one under the I think I've finally seen it all file from the news desk. I don't really cover high performance, one of a kind, rare number cars a lot, but this one was so out there and unbelievable, I had to share this with you. And I think when I get done explaining why I find this car so amazing, you will understand why I wanted to share it. The car of the week, and it's an EV, by the way. This is an electric vehicle, so we're clear. The McMurtry Spéirling Pure. McMurtry Spéirling Pure, made in England. And the article says it is the most outrageous EV that they have seen. And the Spéirling Pure is a single-seat electric track car. It hits 0 to 6. It goes from 0 to 60 in 1.55 seconds. That is half the time of a Tesla Model S Plaid. It is half the time of a Lucid Air in its performance mode. It is ridiculously fast. It tops out at 190 miles an hour. It pulls 3 Gs in the corner and 3 Gs under braking. That is a lot of force. And oh, by the way, it goes from 60 to 0 in barely a second. 1 second, 0 to 60. I got to imagine if you're not buckled in, you're going to be all over the steering wheel and all over the windshield at that rate. The car weighs right around 2 tons. No, I'm sorry. Let me correct that. The car weighs about 1.5 tons, 2,980 pounds. It is 1,000 horsepower, twin motor, rear-wheel drive with an E differential. It takes about an hour to charge, fast charger. And if you're running flat out, yeah, you're not going to be driving this car very far, but you're going to enjoy every mile that you do drive it. It has a range, if you're running at the track flat out, of 25 to 31 miles. So no, this is not a daily driver, and no, this is not something you're going to take out on the street. But I will tell you this, the trick this does on top of all of that is it has something called downforce on demand. A pair of fans that suck the car onto the track for up to over 4,400 pounds of downforce, available from a dead stop. So what does that mean? I watched the video, so I want to tell you, this party trick it does, they were able, with this downforce on demand, to drive this car upside down. I watched them do it. The car actually moved under its own power with downforce on demand fully engaged upside down. Not in a loop. And they weren't hurried. It wasn't some hurry hocus pocus. They took their time. And the car moved under its own power upside down. I've never seen any vehicle do that before. The McMurtry Spéirling Pure is the name of it. It's crazy. Nuts. Crazy. So what does something like this cost? Well, I don't think you're going to get it financed, okay? The price, $1,339,717.25. They're only going to build 100 of them. The company, McMurtry, was founded in 2016 by the late Sir David McMurtry, the meteorology pioneer behind Renshaw and Thomas Yates, an engineer he poached from the Mercedes F1 powertrain division. That downforce that we talked about earlier, the Spéirling revived it and perfected it. Believe it or not, is old technology. It is from the 1970s Can-Am and F1 competition that when they found out it was so effective, it got banned from racing back then. But with its perfection now, they built a whole track car around it. Did I mention over 4,400 pounds of downforce? Downforce on demand. Can you imagine a car going that fast with that much downforce, meaning there ain't no way this car is leaving the pavement? And you talk about like on rails, even more so. Even more so. I can't even imagine. Their quote, "The Spéirling Pure marks the beginning of a new era in track driving with mind-bending performance to suit all levels of owner, from weekend enthusiasts to professional drivers. In production form, the car is significantly more usable, but no less outrageous." That is from Thomas Yates, co-founder and managing director of McMurtry. I don't know how it gets more usable with 31 miles of range, but I guarantee you this thing would be fun even if you didn't run 190. And trust me, I don't think a weekend enthusiast is going to drop $1.3 million on a car that they can only run on the track and then only for so long. But for those folks that can, and I would not be surprised that all 100 of these are bespoke. If they're not sold already, they soon will be. But can you imagine? I mean, this is the technology we're dealing with now, that an electric performance car is so powerful with a 100 kilowatt hour battery, 1,000 horsepower to the wheels, to the rear wheels, twin motors at the rear wheels, which means one motor for each wheel in the back, that you can flip a switch and exert so much force that the car will actually travel upside down. What kind of thrill ride is that, I ask? Just saying. I mean, I looked at this. I'm telling you, let me spell McMurtry because you want to look this up. It's on YouTube. You want to look this up. McMurtry, McMurtry. And Spéirling is spelled Spéirling, Pure, Pure. The McMurtry Spéirling Pure. You owe yourself a chance. Go out to YouTube, type that in, and watch it for yourself and see if that isn't the neatest thing you've ever seen in any kind of car or vehicle. I mean, at all ever. But yeah, $1.3 million. $1,300,000. The prototype that they did this with holds the hardware. It broke Goodwood's outright hill climb record 4 years ago, took Top Gear's test track record last year, and as I've said a number of times incredulously, became the first car ever to drive upside down, sticking to a ceiling on downforce alone. You owe yourself a chance to see this. You got to see this. The McMurtry Spéirling Pure. I don't talk about these much for good reason. I mean, I'll probably never ever see one of these. But it is so crazy that I wanted to share it with you and give you a little something to look up. Make you the coolest thing at the water cooler this week anyway. Absolutely. Check this one out. Made in England. The 2026 Kia K4 hatchback is one unique vehicle worthy of one unique review. You are listening to the Tech Mobility Show. You've heard me talk for years about technology, disruption, innovation, and adapting to change. But the one thing I've also learned in more than 3 decades in business is this. Most people never start because they think they don't have enough time. That's why I wrote 2 Hour Entrepreneur, a practical guide for building a real business in just 2 focused hours a week. Available now on Amazon, Kindle, Goodreads.com, and KennethJChester.com. 2 Hour Entrepreneur, because your future deserves 2 hours.
Are you tired of juggling multiple apps and platforms for meetings, webinars, and staying connected? Look no further than AONmeetings.com, the all-in-one browser-based platform that does it all. With AON Meetings, you can effortlessly communicate with clients, host virtual meetings and webinars, and stay in touch with family and friends, all in one place and for one price. Here's the best part. You can enjoy a 30-day free trial. It's time to simplify your life and boost your productivity. AONmeetings.com, where innovation meets connection. Get started today and revolutionize the way you communicate.
In business, opportunity doesn't wait, and neither should you. At Playbook Investors Network, we connect visionary entrepreneurs with the strategies, resources, and capital they need to win. Whether you're launching, scaling, or reimagining your business, our network turns ambition into measurable success. Your vision deserves more than a plan. It deserves a playbook that works. Playbook Investors Network, where bold ideas meet bold results. Visit pincommunity.org today.
Quick question. What could your life look like 1 year from now if you invested just 2 focused hours a week into building something of your own? That's the idea behind my new book, 2 Hour Entrepreneur. No hype, no hustle culture, just practical steps to help busy people finally move from idea to action. Available now on Amazon, Kindle, Goodreads.com, and KennethJChester.com. 2 Hour Entrepreneur. Start where you are.
Could a Kia hack it in the real world? To find out, we gave it to Suhas Tavkar. Hello! Then told him, follow that Toyota. We figured if our Sophia could tail a Corolla day after day around New York and sell for about $3,000 less, then Kia built a pretty tough car. Yep, our Kia handled this little test. As for Suhas, well, we gave him a pretty nice tip. Enough to buy a Kia.
Thank you!
Kia, because it's about time everyone had a well-made car.
Hey, nice guy.
That was 1996. America was just getting introduced to Kia back then. 1996. Back then. And they named Toyota by name. They were not shy. And said, hey, our car is as good as a Corolla. Check us out. And, oh, by the way, we're $3,000 less. That's a pretty bold statement. But then again, Kia's a pretty bold company. Ever since it entered the American marketplace with 4 dealers in Portland, Oregon in early 1994, Kia has always had a low-cost subcompact sedan in its lineup. The Cephia 4-door is how the make introduced motorists in the United States to the brand, and as part of the initial lineup would add the Sportage SUV the following year. The Cephia would be replaced in the 2000 model year by the Spectra, which would then be replaced by the sophisticated Forte in 2008. The nameplate would carry the brunt of the Kia message until 2024. By this time, the Korean automaker is fielding an elaborate product line of sedans, crossovers, and SUVs powered by gasoline hybrids, and pure EVs. Kia even has an American manufacturing plant in West Point, Georgia, that was so sophisticated when it opened, when they opened their $3.2 billion facility that covers 2,200 acres in 2009, the History Channel actually did an episode on how it was made series about that very same manufacturing plant. Now, I wanted to share this because you know me, I'm all about the context. And in 2024, Kia introduced the K4 sedan, which is, without a doubt, one of the most advanced cars available on the market today. And it didn't just replace the outgoing Forte, but Kia, remaining true to their mission, continued the revolution by rethinking what a modern, affordable sedan should be. But the point of this review is that Kia wasn't content in just introducing a new advanced sedan. For 2026, Kia took things to the next level by introducing the K4 hatchback. Its tight and compact packaging reminds me one or more of the German hot hatch era cars, namely the Volkswagen Golf R and R32 performance variants. It sits low enough where you really think it's a custom job when you first see it, but it's not. That comes that way from the factory. And I got to experience a week behind the wheel of the K4 hatchback and its the GT line turbo trim. Can't talk today. It's okay. My impressions and review are based on that model, and I call it the performance evolution of the Kia K4. The Kia K4 hatchback is actually manufactured in Pesqueria, Nuevo León, Mexico, a state that's located in the northeastern part of the country, bordering with Texas to the north. The K4 hatchback is low and wide, with a rectangular body style that is also reminiscent of the 2011-2017 Lexus CT200H, especially in that sparkling yellow exterior color of my test vehicle, because the 200H kind of came the same way. The result is a hatchback with a low center of gravity that's extremely fun to drive. The top-of-the-line K4 hatchback is powered by a 1.6-liter turbocharged four-cylinder gasoline engine that makes 190 horsepower and 195 foot-pounds of torque. Energy is communicated to the front wheels through an 8-speed automatic with paddle shifters in manual mode. More about that in a moment. The K4 hatchback offers on-demand normal or sport drive modes. For the discriminating motorist, this Kia offers 3 trick ways to drive the car as either clutchless manual or semi-manual mode. The first way, using the paddle shifters with the gear selector and drive. Semi-manual control resets to drive when coming to a full stop. You can use the paddle shifters with the gear selector in manual gear mode for full up and down shifts. It doesn't reset when you stop. And then finally, if you just love the feel of going through the gears, you can just use the gear shift lever in manual mode and shift up or down using the lever alone and not the paddle shifters. So yeah, whatever you want to do, whatever suits your fancy, heck, you can mix it up. EPA fuel economy rating for this car is 28 city, 33 highway. Cargo capacity is 22.2 cubic feet. So here's what I liked about the K4 hatchback. The overall build quality of the K4 hatchback is solid like a bank vault. It's so fun to drive. Quick from rest, excellent cameras, and a clean, no-nonsense arrangement and presentation of displays, control, and switchgear. Easy to read and use. The awesome view of the road is further enhanced by Kia's dash-mounted turn signal activated side view cameras. The rear windshield washer and wiper adds to the outward visibility. And this one's well equipped. Heated cool front seats, fog lights, a sunroof, and impressive rear legroom. 4 adults will get along in this car famously. There are USB ports, both front and rear. Split fold-down rear seat folds flat with the cargo area floor. And yeah, there's a spare tire that's accessible from inside the cabin under the cargo area floor. Because you know, I'm all about that spare tire. So, with all this goodness, yeah, I got a few things I didn't like. So let me tell you, in regular automatic transmission mode, there's a delayed mid-range response at wide open throttle. And I don't know what that's about. Might be programming, might be the car needs to be broken in, not sure, but it was a hesitation I really didn't need. And not that you would ever need to open the engine hood, but if you do, take note, beware, it's very heavy. You don't want to hurt yourself. Now, I got a couple like-to-haves on the list. I mean, I'm not nicking them for this, just putting in, hey, Kia, if you're listening, a couple things I'd love to have. Power rear hatch opening and a standard tonneau cover, to cover my stuff so people don't see my business when I'm running in the cargo area. It'd be nice. Now, this one thing is just the way it is, and I'm not really nicking Kia about this, but it's kind of a fact of life. The stuff that makes it fun. The low center of gravity. In fact, this car sits low. I can't see it working in the winter. In other words, where I live in north of here, forget about it. That ain't happening. And it's due to its low road height and close proximity to the ground. And I'm sad because I would not be able to drive this all year. One good snowstorm, you're done. So here's bottom line. To drive the K4 hatchback GT line turbo, which is top of the line, is to love it. It's an enjoyable ride for someone who's seeking something different in their driving experience. The base manufacturer's suggested retail price for the 2026 Kia K4 hatchback GT line turbo, mouthful, starts from $28,890. Destination charges add $1,195. And Kia could have left this one for month, 2 months, 6 months, forever. I'd enjoy driving it. I'd have had to park it in the wintertime, though. But absolutely fun, and you don't expect it. And if you're looking for fun in an unexpected place, the K4 hatchback is where you want to go. The dead internet theory holds that most online activity isn't human. Is that really true? This is the Tech Mobility Show. Quick question. What could your life look like 1 year from now if you invested just 2 focused hours a week into building something of your own? That's the idea behind my new book, 2 Hour Entrepreneur. No hype, no hustle culture, just practical steps to help busy people finally move from idea to action. Available now on Amazon Kindle, Goodreads.com, and KennethJChester.com. 2 Hour Entrepreneur. Start where you are.
Every great business starts with a spark, but taking it to the next level takes strategy, connections, and capital. That's where Playbook Investors Network comes in. We're your strategic partner for accelerating growth, navigating challenges, and capturing market opportunities before your competition does. Your business is more than an idea. Let's make it an impact. Playbook Investors Network. Your future starts here. Learn more at pincommunity.org.
A recent feature in the magazine Fast Company talked about the dead internet theory. As the theory goes, most online activity on the internet today isn't human, but bots, AI agents, and the like. According to Cloudflare, which manages traffic for millions of websites, bots now generate 57.5% of web page requests. The company's CEO previously predicted that it wouldn't happen until the end of 2027. Other thought leaders in the space argue that machines became the majority back in 2023. The important takeaway here is not that they disagree on the when, but their agreement that it did happen. And as a result, what does that mean for us humans? This is topic B. Let's have a moment here. The dead internet theory. When the internet was created, there were a lot of assumptions about how to monetize the net. And back then, trying to get people to pay for use wasn't happening because the systems had not been developed. So what they decided the easy way out. What they did was, okay, we're going to give it to you for free, but we're going to identify you, collect all the information we can about you, and sell it to data marketers and the like. And it's the old saying, if you're getting it for free, chances are you are the product. And that was the case the internet system was built on. because it was the easiest way to go. But sometime in June of this year, 2026, without ceremony, human beings became a minority on the internet they have built. And this is the industry talking like this. So the dead internet theory, which had been around since literally the beginning of the internet, it's real. It's not human. It's real. The question now is, it's just a measurement dispute. But here's the thing you should consider. Buried inside that dispute is a much bigger story. That business model that has financed the web for 30 years just erased its founding assumption that a human is interacting with the net. That's it. That a human is keying in, that a human is reacting, that you can appeal to emotion, that you can appeal to instant gratification. That has gone away. Let me give you an example. When you nowadays type into Google or your search engine of choice, you ask it a question. It's AI that's going out there, going to websites, getting the information and bringing it back to you. You didn't go to the 3 or 4 or 5 or 10 websites it went to compile the answer. It gave you the answer. That is the top. That is the design. It was a bot that did that back 10 years ago. You would have had to go to various sites. It would have been a person interacting with the website. It had been a person interacting with the API of those sites. Not anymore. And they told us this was coming. They did. They really, really did. But here's the problem. The fact that humans are no longer directly interacting with websites directly. This second order affects the choice of a defined an era. Now, surveillance became the economic engine of the web because the better they knew the human on the other side of the screen, the more you could charge to put things in front of them. And we've all had that deja vu moment. We'd be talking to somebody about something specific that we were thinking about buying, a place we're going, and you go to the internet and suddenly, boom, there are ads for it. And you wonder, is my phone listening to me? Not necessarily is what they say, but they've surveilled you and your family to a point they kind of know you pretty well. They've taken all this aggregate, and AI has helped them take this aggregate of all this information and put it together about you. So they know what to offer you and, more importantly, when to offer it to you. That model, the better you knew the human, the more you could charge to put things in front of them. The first thing that fell by the wayside was traditional media, which had funded journalism with bundled advertising. It died. That's why you have way fewer newspapers, because it was the advertising in the newspaper that carried, the investigative reporting and all the other stuff that didn't generate money. Privacy losses that would have provoked outrage if imposed by a government were accepted as terms of service. You know where I stand about that. That has been my pet peeve since Jump Street. And that hasn't changed, by the way. But that's our life. An entire $1 trillion edifice, cost per click, ad impressions, conversion funnels, page view analytics, attribution models, rested on one assumption: that the visitor is a human being who could be persuaded to buy something. All of that was built because they expected you to click through to a website. And the call was to action: go to the website. Buy this. Look here. 57.5% of internet traffic isn't human. That is not a made-up number. That is a fact. What makes this moment different from the bot traffic of years past is what the machines are now doing. According to Human Security's 2026 benchmark report, traffic from AI agents take action on the web, which what an AI agent is. It is more than a workflow. It is a series of workflow and decisions put together as an agent that goes out and performs whole tasks for you, beginning to end. You put in the parameters, it just does the work, beginning to end. Clicking links, filling out forms, and completing tasks. grew 7,851% year over year. Not scraping like AIs used to do. Doing. 7,851% increase. The fintech platform Stripe reports that 70% of the commands hitting its data APIs now come from agents rather than people. The trading platform Alpaca watched agent-driven APIs calls jump from single digits to 30% of volume in a single quarter. A quarter of developers now design application program interfaces with agents, not humans, as the primary customer. They are building for machines, not you. Let that sink in. They call it the machine economy. And in an interview with Fortune, agents consume the web completely differently than humans do. It is, in effect, a brand new customer category, and no business wants to wall itself off from an entire customer segment. Has nothing to do with banners, banner ads, any of that. Because at the end of the day, you get rewarded for efficiency. That's where they're going. These new agents work on attributes as price, reliability, structured data quality, and trustworthiness, not necessarily the emotional buy of a clicker, of a human being. That day is just about over. And if you've been listening, honestly, they told you this day was coming. Agents are the thing. It is our new replicants. They are doing the work on the net we used to do, and they're doing it faster, more efficiently, with a lot more information than we ever had in a lot less time. It makes you more efficient. But I wonder where we go from here. When personal freedom becomes a nuisance, why California is done with drive-thrus. We are the Tech Mobility Show.
Are you tired of juggling multiple apps and platforms for meetings, webinars, and staying connected? Look no further than AONmeetings.com, the all-in-one browser-based platform that does it all. With AON Meetings, you can effortlessly communicate with clients, host virtual meetings and webinars, and stay in touch with family and friends, all in one place and for one price. Here's the best part. You can enjoy a 30-day free trial. It's time to simplify your life and boost your productivity. AONmeetings.com, where innovation meets connection. Get started today and revolutionize the way you communicate.
You know, after years of hosting these programs and talking with entrepreneurs, innovators, and business leaders, I realized something. A lot of people aren't lacking ideas. They're lacking a realistic path to start. That's why I wrote 2 Hour Entrepreneur. It's for people with jobs, families, responsibilities, and dreams that have been sitting on the shelf for too long. Launching now on Amazon Kindle, Goodreads.com, and KennethJChester.com. 2 Hour Entrepreneur. Progress starts small.
You've got the drive. You've got the vision. Now you need the right partner to make it happen. At Playbook Investors Network, we power ambitious leaders with the tools, insight, and investment connections to move faster, grow stronger, and lead markets. We're more than advisors. We're your co-pilots in success. Because in business, standing still is not an option. Playbook Investors Network, fueling ambition, delivering results. Visit pincommunity.org.
Are you tired of juggling multiple apps and platforms for meetings, webinars, and staying connected? Look no further than AONmeetings.com, the all-in-one browser-based platform that does it all. With AON Meetings, you can effortlessly communicate with clients, host virtual meetings and webinars, and stay in touch with family and friends, all in one place and for one price. Here's the best part. You can enjoy a 30-day free trial. It's time to simplify your life and boost your productivity. AONmeetings.com, where innovation meets connection. Get started today and revolutionize the way you communicate.
So, when does the length of a drive-through line at the local fast food restaurant become a menace to the neighborhood? In car-obsessed California, it's a question that's been gaining traction in the state that actually gave rise to the drive-through culture. At what point does the desire for clean air, safe streets, and walkable communities outrank the American right to drive when and wherever you choose? It's a debate, and it's real. This is Topic C. It is attributed to the chain In-N-Out Burger came up with the first drive-through in 1948. Imagine Southern California in the middle of the summer on a Friday or Saturday night. All that gleaming metal, all that shininess, everybody gathered to see everybody's fanciness. You probably spent the day, if it's a Saturday, waxing, washing, so you could hang out with your buddies, show off your car, or nowadays your truck. However, what is quiet enjoyment worth in a neighborhood? The fact that maybe the drive-through down the street on a weekend, that line spills back up through your neighborhood, may even impair your ability to get out of your own driveway. I can't speak for California, but it's happened here in Des Moines, particularly we're here on the east side. There is a soft serve ice cream place. It is iconic. It's been around for years and years and years and years. But on a Friday or Saturday night in the middle of the summer, particularly if it's a hot night, their line spills down a side street onto the main drag and could be 15, 20 cars deep, causing all kinds of traffic problems. And mix that with State Fair, which is also along that drive and is going to be crazy in the next week or so when State Fair starts. You are talking about a traffic jam and possible danger point of big proportions. It's not just California. California's had a long history, though, of saying, you know what? Drive-thrus for the sake of drive-thrus, and particularly this new thing they're trying to do out in California called a mega drive-thru, thank you, but no thank you. Now, at first, it sounds like, oh, California just being California, they're just haters. Well, what if that's your neighborhood and you can't get out of your driveway because folks are trying to get to the local hamburger place and it's Saturday night about 8 o'clock and it's 25 cars deep and the last 5 cars are blocking you in? Now what? Is it okay then? And what about all the noise? At some point, when you like a quiet neighborhood, we all do, home is sanctuary. California's not that far off, but we have gone car crazy for the last 100 years. There's roughly 250 million privately owned vehicles in the United States of America today. Automakers, on average, sell between 15 to 17 million new vehicles. Roughly 10%, roughly 11 to 12 million get scrapped every year. So we're still net growing vehicles in the millions, by the way. Who has the right? Do people who want their burger at this particular burger place have the right to hem you in because they're waiting in line? Do you have the right to impose on them, say, no, you can't have a line that long because this is my driveway. I want the ability to go and come as I please, and I don't like the noise, and I don't like the pollution, and I got little kids that if I are out there, they might get hurt because you guys are pulling up and making noise and got your music up and all of that. Who wins here? California, cities and towns, is not just one. I've taken a hard look at this, and it's not as crazy as it sounds at first blush. We have gone totally car nuts, and it's time for a little realignment. I don't think cars every place all the time. I love to drive, don't get me wrong, I do. But there's a certain amount of quiet enjoyment I would like to get when I get home that I don't need to hear all this traffic and all this noise, all this pollution and bad air. But then again, you've got chains in California proposing a 26-car queue with 61 parking places at the juncture of 3 major streets. They call it a major drive-through. Yeah, I would have picked up posters and opposed that in my neighborhood. That is TOO with a capital TOO. But this is what's going on. And in this case, I believe it was Culver City, California, hundreds of people rode in, worried about traffic, air quality, safety, and mobility. Of course, as always, City Council was saying, okay, this is a problem citywide. Tell you what, we're going to ban new drive-thrus. And people had a fit. You can't win for losing. I understand. You want your burger, you want your burger. If that's a place, that's a place. However, people in those neighborhoods you're imposing on have rights too. They have a right to quiet. They have a right to be safe. the noise and the pollution, you know? I mean, hey, we all trying to get a little peace and quiet in this world. But drive-thrus have been around, like I said, since 1948, but they spread through the 1960s as the nation's interstate highway system took off and blew up in the 60s and 70s as places like Southern California filled with single-family tract homes and two-car garages. And yeah, put it on us boomers, but okay, baby boomers came of age, drive-thrus were a source of family-friendly convenience and cheap eats. Are you kidding? Rite of passage. You know, when I was 16, get a car. Now, yeah, it was an 11-year-old raggedy car, but it was mine, and I had to hang out. So you hung out. Problem is, that's becoming more of a menace than it was back then. More cars, more everything. Would you believe me if I told you that the first ban of drive-thrus in California happened in 1982? San Luis Obispo, California, which is a beautiful city on the coast. I've been there. I've eaten lunch there. It is amazing. Gorgeous place. They banned it in 82 there. And it inspired scattered restrictions, mostly in places where the architecture was less suburban and the air quality more challenged, like South Pasadena, Sierra Madre, and Claremont. As the century turned, new urbanists also inveighed against drive-thrus, saying they undermined everything modern cities now value. We mentioned at the top of the segment: livable neighborhoods, safe and clean streets, space for bicycling and hiking, shopping local. If I got all this traffic, I'm not going to pull over in that neighborhood. Too much traffic, lines and stuff, and I got to find a park. No. And folks are saying, you know what? This is killing us. But here's an inconvenient truth. Fast food restaurants, which according to industry experts earn 70% of their revenue through drive-through windows. 70%. And when it costs everything right now, they're being squeezed. What do you do? What do you do? 70% of their money comes through the drive-through. The more drive-through, the better. So they want more. If I'm living near them, I want less. I want the quiet. I don't want cars and beeping and honking and everything 11, 12, 1 o'clock in the morning because they're open late. I want to get some sleep sometime.
This is the Tech Mobility Podcast.
If you've been waiting for the perfect time to start your business idea, let me save you some time. That moment probably isn't coming, but 2 focused hours a week? Yeah, most of us can find that. In my new book, 2 Hour Entrepreneur, I'll show you how small, consistent effort can create real momentum toward building something meaningful. Launching now on Amazon Kindle, Goodreads.com, and KennethJChester.com. 2 Hour Entrepreneur, built for real life.
In business, opportunity doesn't wait, and neither should you. At Playbook Investors Network, we connect visionary entrepreneurs with the strategies, resources, and capital they need to win. Whether you're launching, scaling, or reimagining your business, our network turns ambition into measurable success. Your vision deserves more than a plan. It deserves a playbook that works. Playbook Investors Network, where bold ideas meet bold results. Visit pincommunity.org today.
Are you tired of juggling multiple apps and platforms for meetings, webinars, and staying connected? Look no further than aonmeetings.com, the all-in-one browser-based platform that does it all. With AON Meetings, you can effortlessly communicate with clients, host virtual meetings and webinars, and stay in touch with family and friends, all in one place and for one price. Here's the best part. You can enjoy a 30-day free trial. It's time to simplify your life and boost your productivity. aonmeetings.com, where innovation meets connection. Get started today and revolutionize the way you communicate.
You've heard me talk for years about technology, disruption, innovation, and adapting to change. But the one thing I've also learned in more than 3 decades in business is this. Most people never start because they think they don't have enough time. That's why I wrote 2 Hour Entrepreneur, a practical guide for building a real business in just 2 focused hours a week. Available now on Amazon, Kindle, Goodreads.com, and KennethJChester.com. 2 Hour Entrepreneur, because your future deserves 2 hours.